Jax had grown up on the colony world of New Horizon, a remote outpost where humanity's pioneering spirit still burned brightly. From a young age, he had been fascinated by the stars, dreaming of exploring the vast expanse of the cosmos. When the opportunity arose to join the Galactic Elite's prestigious fighter pilot program, he knew it was his chance to prove humanity's worth on the interstellar stage. As Jax entered the training facility, he was immediately struck by the sheer diversity of alien species represented. Towering reptilian warriors stood alongside lithe, graceful humanoids, each radiating an air of confidence and entitlement. The human cadet tried his best to blend in, but his unassuming demeanor did little to conceal his boundless enthusiasm. During the initial orientation, the lead instructor, a stern-faced Vrixian commander, addressed the assembled cadets. "Welcome to the Galactic Elite Fighter Corps, the finest military force in the known universe. You have been handpicked from across our member civilizations to undergo the most rigorous training imaginable. Only the best of the best will emerge as our elite pilots, tasked with defending our way of life from any and all threats." The commander's gaze swept across the room, lingering briefly on Jax before dismissing him with a scoff. "Humans," he spat, "while your kind has shown some promise in recent years, you still have much to learn before you can even hope to stand alongside our seasoned warriors." The other cadets erupted in laughter, casting derisive glances in Jax's direction. The young human felt his cheeks burn with a mixture of embarrassment and indignation, but he refused to be cowed by their taunts. He knew that he had earned his place here, and he was determined to prove his worth, no matter the cost. As the training regimen began, Jax threw himself into every exercise with unwavering determination. He mastered the complex controls of the state-of-the-art fighter craft, his reflexes honed to perfection through countless hours in the simulator. His fellow cadets, initially dismissive, began to take notice of the human's rapid progress, their laughter slowly turning to grudging respect. Jax's instructors, too, were impressed by his natural talent and relentless drive. They pushed him harder, challenging him with ever more demanding maneuvers and tactical scenarios. The human cadet rose to the occasion, his problem-solving skills and quick thinking allowing him to outmaneuver his alien counterparts time and time again. One day, during a particularly intense dogfighting drill, Jax found himself pitted against the commander's own son, a cocky young Vrixian who had been tormenting the human since the start of the program. As the two fighters engaged in a high-speed chase, trading blasts of energy, Jax's mind raced, searching for a way to gain the upper hand. Suddenly, he spotted an opening, a momentary lapse in his opponent's defenses. Without hesitation, Jax executed a daring maneuver, cutting across the Vrixian's path and unleashing a barrage of laser fire. The alien's fighter spun wildly out of control, crash-landing in a nearby training field amid a cloud of smoke and sparks. The other cadets fell silent, stunned by Jax's display of skill and audacity. The commander himself strode onto the tarmac, his reptilian features twisted in a look of grudging admiration. "Well done, human," he growled. "It would seem you have more to you than meets the eye." From that day on, Jax's reputation among the Galactic Elite's elite pilots grew, and the once dismissive cadets began to treat him with a newfound respect. Yet beneath the surface, resentment and envy still simmered, as the aliens grappled with the unsettling reality that a mere human could outshine them. Jax, however, remained focused on his training, driven by a desire to not only prove his own worth, but to shatter the preconceptions that had long plagued his species. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was more than ready to face them head-on, determined to earn his place among the stars. As the program continued, Jax's skills only continued to improve, and his reputation within the Galactic Elite's ranks grew ever more formidable. The young human's exploits became the subject of hushed whispers and furtive glances, as the alien pilots struggled to reconcile their prejudices with the undeniable truth of his abilities. Yet even as Jax's star continued to rise, he remained humble and grounded, never forgetting his roots or the people he had left behind on New Horizon. He knew that his success was not just his own, but a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of humanity as a whole. And as he honed his skills, he began to harbor a growing conviction that one day his people would take their rightful place among the galactic powers, no longer dismissed or underestimated, but respected and revered. As Jax's prowess in the flight simulators became increasingly apparent, the resentment among his alien peers only continued to grow. The young human's effortless mastery of complex maneuvers and his uncanny ability to outthink his opponents left them seething with envy and frustration. The other cadets, once content to simply mock Jax's human origins, began to scheme and plot, determined to undermine his success by any means necessary. They formed secret alliances, sharing information and devising ever more devious strategies to sabotage the human's progress. During training exercises, the aliens would often gang up on Jax, overwhelming him with coordinated attacks and carefully timed feints. They would exploit every perceived weakness, exploiting the slightest hesitation or misstep to gain the upper hand. Jax, however, remained unfazed, his unwavering focus and quick reflexes allowing him to navigate the treacherous gauntlet with ease. One particularly intense session saw Jax pitted against a trio of Silurian warriors, their sleek fighters darting and weaving in a dizzying display of agility. The human cadet, outnumbered and outgunned, refused to be cowed, his mind racing as he sought an opening in his opponent's defenses. As the Silurians closed in for the kill, Jax executed a series of daring maneuvers, using the fighters' own momentum against them. He wove between their shots, baiting them into overextending, and then unleashing a devastating counterattack that sent their ships tumbling end over end. The other cadets watched in stunned silence as Jax emerged victorious, his fighters still gleaming despite the furious assault. The Silurians, their pride wounded, stalked off the tarmac, muttering darkly under their breath. The human, however, remained steadfast, his expression betraying no hint of triumph or arrogance. It was this unwavering composure in the face of adversity that continued to impress Jax's instructors, who had grown increasingly fond of the young human. They recognized in him a rare blend of natural talent and unshakable determination, qualities that they knew would be invaluable in the heat of battle. As the training program progressed, the instructors began to single Jax out for specialized exercises and advanced tactical simulations. They challenged him with ever more complex scenarios, pushing him to the limit of his abilities and forcing him to think on his feet. The human cadet rose to the occasion time and time again, his quick thinking and innovative solutions earning him the respect and admiration of his mentors. The other cadets, meanwhile, grew increasingly resentful, sensing that Jax was quickly becoming the instructor's favorite. They whispered behind his back, spreading rumors and casting aspersions, but the human remained unfazed, focused solely on honing his skills and proving his worth. One day, during a particularly grueling exercise, Jax found himself in a desperate dogfight against a squad of veteran Andorian pilots. The aliens, sensing an opportunity to strike a blow against the human's burgeoning reputation, attacked with ruthless efficiency, their fighters darting and weaving in a dizzying display of firepower. Jax, his concentration unwavering, maneuvered his craft with a precision that left his opponents reeling. He anticipated their every move, countering their attacks with lightning-fast reflexes and a keen tactical mind. As the battle raged on, the Andorians grew increasingly frustrated, their once coordinated assault descending into chaos. In a final, desperate gambit, the lead Andorian pilot unleashed a salvo of missiles, intent on obliterating Jax's fighter. But the human, sensing the attack, executed a daring barrel roll, the missiles streaking past him and slamming into the surrounding terrain in a blinding display of firepower. As the dust settled, Jax's fellow cadets stared in stunned silence, unable to comprehend the human's sheer audacity and skill. The Andorian pilots, their pride shattered, grudgingly acknowledged the young human's triumph, their once condescending attitudes replaced by a newfound respect. Jax, his heart pounding, allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. He knew that he had taken another step closer to his goal, and that the Galactic Elite's elite would no longer dismiss him as a mere curiosity. The road ahead would only grow more challenging, but he was more than ready to face whatever obstacles lay in his path. As the training program neared its conclusion, Jax found himself emerging as a rising star among the Galactic Elite's finest pilots. His instructors, once skeptical of his human origins, now regarded him with a newfound admiration, recognizing in him the makings of a true hero. And though the other cadets still harbored resentment, they could no longer deny the human's exceptional abilities. Jax, for his part, remained humble and focused, driven not by a desire for glory or recognition, but by a deep-seated determination to prove the worth of his species and carve out a place for humanity among the stars. And as he stood on the precipice of his greatest challenge yet, he knew that the real fight had only just begun. As Jax's training program reached its culmination, he found himself assigned to the prestigious Crimson Wing, an elite fighter squadron tasked with defending the core worlds of the Galactic Elite. The young human pilot knew that this was his chance to truly shine, to demonstrate the full extent of his abilities and shatter the preconceptions that had long plagued his species. The Crimson Wing, composed of the Galactic Elite's most seasoned and decorated pilots, welcomed Jax with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. They had heard the whispers of his exploits during training, but few were willing to believe that a mere human could stand alongside them as an equal. Undaunted, Jax immersed himself in the rigorous training regimen of the Crimson Wing, pushing himself to the limits of his endurance and skill. He mastered the intricacies of his fighter's advanced systems, learning to wield its formidable arsenal with a precision that left his fellow pilots in awe. As the weeks turned to months, Jax's reputation within the Crimson Wing grew, and the once skeptical pilots found themselves grudgingly admiring the human's unwavering determination and unerring instincts. They began to seek out his counsel, valuing his unique perspective and innovative approach to tactical scenarios. The ultimate test, however, came when the Crimson Wing was dispatched to the crater system, the site of a sudden and devastating Xeno incursion. The alien marauders, a savage race of warlike predators, had swept through the region, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. As the Crimson Wing's fighters streaked towards the embattled system, Jax felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. This was the moment he had been training for, the chance to prove himself in the crucible of true combat. He gripped the controls of his fighter, his mind racing as he ran through the countless scenarios he had rehearsed in the simulators. The battle that unfolded was a furious, chaotic melee, with the Crimson Wing's pilots unleashing a barrage of laser fire and missile strikes against the relentless Xeno swarm. Jax, his senses heightened, weaved his fighter through the swirling chaos, his shots finding their mark with unerring precision. As the battle raged on, the human cadet's allies began to take note of his exceptional performance. He anticipated the Xeno's movements with uncanny accuracy, guiding his comrades to critical targets and coordinating their attacks with unparalleled skill. The Xeno, for their part, seemed bewildered by the humans' tactics, their savage onslaught gradually losing its ferocity as they struggled to counter Jax's unconventional approach. The Crimson Wing, sensing an opportunity, pressed their advantage, unleashing a devastating volley of firepower that tore through the alien invaders' ranks. In the aftermath of the battle, the Crimson Wing's commanding officer, a grizzled Vrixian veteran, approached Jax, his reptilian features etched with a newfound respect. "I must admit, Cadet, I had my doubts about you," he growled, "but today, you have proven yourself worthy to fly alongside the Galactic Elite's finest. Your performance was nothing short of exceptional." Jax, his heart swelling with pride, offered a respectful nod. "Thank you, sir. I was simply doing my duty to protect the citizens of the Galactic Elite, as we all are." His words, spoken with quiet confidence, belied the sense of triumph that threatened to overwhelm him. The other pilots, once dismissive of the human, now regarded him with a mixture of awe and admiration. They had witnessed firsthand the extent of his abilities, and their preconceptions had been shattered beyond repair. Jax, for his part, remained humble, knowing that his true test had only just begun. As the Crimson Wing returned to its home base, the news of Jax's heroics spread like wildfire through the Galactic elite's ranks. The once dismissive alien leaders found themselves forced to reconsider their views on humanity, their prejudices slowly eroding in the face of the human cadets' undeniable skill and bravery. Jax, however, remained focused on the task at hand, knowing that his journey had only just begun. He had proven his worth on the battlefield, but he understood that the true challenge lay in the political and social landscape of the Galactic elite. If he was to truly cement humanity's place among the stars, he would need to navigate a treacherous web of intrigue, diplomacy, and power struggles. With a steely resolve, the young human pilot prepared himself for the battles yet to come, determined to overcome any obstacle that stood in his way. For he knew that the fate of his species hung in the balance, and he would stop at nothing to ensure that humanity's rightful place was secured among the pantheon of the Galactic elite. The news of Jax's triumph in the crater system quickly swept through the Galactic elite, causing shockwaves that reverberated across the interstellar community. The alien leaders, once dismissive of humanity's capabilities, found themselves forced to reckon with the undeniable truth of the human pilot's exceptional skills. In the inner sanctums of the Galactic elite's governing council, the discussion turned heated and divisive. Some argued that Jax's accomplishments should be celebrated, a testament to the potential of humanity to contribute to the greater good of the Alliance. Others, however, viewed the human's rise as a dangerous threat to the established order, a harbinger of a future where the Galactic elite's dominance could be challenged. At the center of this heated debate was the Imperium, a powerful cable of the Galactic elite's most influential leaders. They had long viewed humanity as a troublesome and unpredictable species, a potential liability that could disrupt the delicate balance of power that they had so carefully cultivated. The Imperium's members, a diverse array of alien warlords, corporate magnates, and political power brokers, convened an emergency session to address the human problem. Their discussions were cloaked in the veil of secrecy, their decisions carried out with the ruthless efficiency that had characterized their rise to power. As the Imperium deliberated, Jax continued his service with the Crimson Wing, his reputation only growing with each successive mission. The human pilot's exploits were the subject of hushed whispers and furtive glances, as his fellow pilots marveled at his uncanny ability to outmaneuver even the most seasoned veterans. Yet, unbeknownst to Jax, the Imperium had set its sights on the young human, viewing him as a threat that needed to be eliminated before he could rally other humans to his cause. They dispatched their most skilled operatives, shadowy figures trained in the art of subterfuge and assassination, tasked with neutralizing the human pilot before he could become a rallying cry for a potential human uprising. The operatives, cloaked in the guise of routine maintenance crews and support personnel, infiltrated the Crimson Wing's base, meticulously gathering intelligence and laying the groundwork for their sinister plot. They shadowed Jax's every move, studying his habits and routines, searching for the perfect opportunity to strike. As the human pilot went about his duties, blissfully unaware of the danger that lurked in the shadows, the Imperium's agents prepared to make their move. They had concocted an elaborate scheme, one that would not only eliminate Jax, but also sow the seeds of discord and paranoia among the Crimson Wing's pilots. The plan was set in motion when a series of accidents began to plague the Crimson Wing's fighter fleet. One by one, the advanced craft experienced mechanical failures, their systems inexplicably malfunctioning at the most inopportune moments. The pilots, increasingly on edge, began to suspect sabotage, their trust in one another slowly eroding as they scrambled to maintain their fragile aerial superiority. Jax, ever the consummate professional, remained calm and focused, redoubling his efforts to keep the Crimson Wing's fighters operational. He worked tirelessly alongside the maintenance crews, troubleshooting and repairing the damaged craft, with a skill that only further cemented his reputation among his peers. Yet, even as Jax toiled to keep the Crimson Wing's defenses intact, the Imperium's operatives continued to close in, their shadowy machinations growing ever more intricate. They had planted false evidence, implicating the human pilot in a sinister plot to undermine the Galactic elite's military might. As the Imperium's web of intrigue began to unravel, the Crimson Wing's commanding officer, a seasoned Vrixian veteran, found himself torn between his loyalty to his comrades and the growing suspicions that had been sown by the Imperium's agents. Doubts and paranoia gnawed at his mind, eroding his once unwavering trust in Jax and the other pilots under his command. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the very fabric of the Crimson Wing's unity, and Jax, unaware of the impending danger, continued to pour his heart and soul into his duties, driven by an unwavering determination to prove humanity's worth to the Galactic elite. As the tension reached a fever pitch, the young human pilot found himself caught in the crosshairs of a conspiracy that threatened not only his own future, but the very survival of his species. With the Imperium's plots closing in around him, Jax knew that he would have to summon every ounce of his skill and resolve to navigate the treacherous waters that lay ahead. Jax remained oblivious to the growing storm that was brewing around him, focused solely on his duties as a pilot within the Crimson Wing. He continued to excel in his missions, his exceptional skills and keen tactical instincts earning him the respect and admiration of his fellow pilots. However, unbeknownst to the young human, the Imperium's sinister machinations had extended far beyond the confines of the Crimson Wing's base. Their operatives had infiltrated the highest echelons of power, sowing seeds of doubt and paranoia among the Galactic elite's leadership. It was only when a clandestine attack on Jax's family's home planet of New Horizon that the truth began to dawn on him. The assault, carried out with surgical precision, had leveled entire cities, leaving devastation and chaos in its wake. Jax, his heart filled with anguish and rage, knew that this was no mere accident, but a deliberate strike designed to destroy everything he held dear. As the news of the attack spread, Jax found himself summoned before the Crimson Wing's commanding officer, the Vrixian veteran's once gruff demeanor tinged with a subtle hint of sympathy. "Cadet Jax," he began, his voice laden with a gravity that sent a chill down the human spine. "I'm afraid we have grave news." Jax listened in stunned silence as the commander detailed the Imperium's sinister plot, their determination to eliminate the human pilot before he could become a rallying cry for a potential human uprising. The young pilot's mind raced, struggling to comprehend the sheer scale of the conspiracy that had been woven around him. "They see you as a threat, Jax," the commander continued, "a symbol of humanity's potential to challenge the Galactic elite's dominance, and they will stop at nothing to eliminate you, and anyone who stands with you." Jax felt a surge of pure, unadulterated fury course through his veins. The thought of his family, his friends, his entire homeworld being targeted by these ruthless power brokers was almost too much to bear. He clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white, as he struggled to maintain his composure. "Then I will not stand idly by," Jax declared, his voice laced with a determined resolve. "I will fight, not just for myself, but for the honor of my people. The Imperium will not break the spirit of humanity, not as long as I still draw breath." The Vrixian commander regarded the young human with a newfound respect, his reptilian features softening ever so slightly. "I had a feeling you would say that, Cadet. And I, for one, am not about to let the Imperium's machinations go unchallenged." With those words, the commander summoned a handful of the Crimson Wing's most trusted pilots, all of whom had witnessed Jax's exceptional skill and unwavering dedication. "We will not abandon our comrade, nor will we allow the Imperium to continue their reign of terror. Who among you will stand with us?" One by one, the pilots stepped forward, their eyes burning with a resolute determination. They had seen firsthand the true measure of Jax's character, and they knew that the fate of their species, and perhaps the entire Galactic elite, hung in the balance. As the Crimson Wing's makeshift rebellion took shape, Jax felt a surge of hope rise within him. He had always known that humanity possessed the potential to be more than just a backwater species, and now he had the chance to prove it to the galaxy. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jax began to formulate a plan, drawing upon his extensive knowledge of the Galactic elite's military operations and the Imperium's web of power. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but he was more than prepared to face it head-on, determined to protect his homeworld and secure humanity's rightful place among the stars. As the Crimson Wing's pilots prepared for the coming conflict, Jax found himself at the center of a brewing storm, a symbol of humanity's resilience and a beacon of hope for those who had long been oppressed by the Imperium's machinations. He knew that the fate of his species rested squarely on his shoulders, and he was more than ready to rise to the challenge. With a steely resolve, Jax led his comrades into the fray, ready to confront the Imperium's forces and defend the principles of freedom, justice, and equality that he held so dear. The battle lines had been drawn, and the future of the Galactic elite hung in the balance. The conflict that erupted between Jax and his Crimson Wing comrades and the formidable forces of the Imperium was a clash of epic proportions. The human pilots, fueled by a fierce determination to defend their homeworld and prove the worth of their species, engaged the Imperium's fleet in a series of fierce and relentless battles. From the outset, the odds were stacked against Jax and his fellow rebels. The Imperium commanded the vast resources and military might of the Galactic elite, their arsenal of advanced fighter craft and devastating capital ships dwarfing the comparatively meager forces of the Crimson Wing. Yet, Jax's innovative tactics and his ability to inspire his comrades turned the tide of the battle. The human pilots, buoyed by their leader's unwavering courage and strategic brilliance, executed daring maneuvers that left the Imperium's forces reeling. In the skies above New Horizon, the two factions engaged in a series of high-speed dogfights, laser blasts streaking through the blackness of space as the fighters danced a deadly waltz. Jax, his senses heightened and his reflexes honed to perfection, guided his comrades with a precision that defied the expectations of their seasoned adversaries. As the battle raged on, the Imperium's commanders grew increasingly desperate, their once confident stratagems unraveling in the face of the human pilots' relentless onslaught. They hurled wave after wave of reinforcements into the fray, but Jax and his comrades refused to be cowed, their determination hardening with each passing moment. The young human pilot, his eyes narrowed in fierce concentration, executed a series of daring maneuvers that left the Imperium's fighters in disarray. He anticipated their every move, exploiting the slightest openings in their defenses to deliver devastating counterattacks. The Imperium's forces, once so sure of their superiority, found themselves reeling, their vaunted military might crumbling in the face of the humans' unbridled tenacity. As the battle reached its crescendo, Jax found himself engaged in a desperate dogfight with the Imperium's most skilled pilots, their sleek fighters darting and weaving in a lethal dance. The young human, his muscles burning with exertion, poured every ounce of his skill and determination into the fight, his shots finding their mark with unerring precision. In a final desperate gambit, the Imperium's pilots unleashed a devastating barrage of missiles, intent on overwhelming Jax and his comrades. But the human pilot, his senses heightened to a razor's edge, anticipated the attack, guiding his fellow rebels in a coordinated evasive maneuver that sent the missiles careening off course. As the Imperium's forces reeled from the unexpected counterattack, Jax seized the initiative, his fighter darting among the enemy craft with a speed and agility that left his opponents bewildered. With a series of precise, devastating strikes, he systematically dismantled the Imperium's defenses, his comrades rallying to his side to deliver the final, crushing blow. In the aftermath of the battle, the Imperium's once formidable fleet lay in tatters, their ships adrift, and their commanders in a state of stunned disbelief. Jax and his fellow pilots, their fighters still gleaming despite the furious engagement, surveyed the scene with a mixture of triumph and grim determination. The young human knew that this was only the beginning of the conflict, that the Imperium would not accept defeat lightly. But in that moment, as he gazed upon the shattered remnants of their adversaries, he felt a surge of pride and hope. Hope that humanity could stand tall among the galactic elite, that their worth would no longer be dismissed or underestimated. As the Crimson Wings fighters returned to New Horizon, Jax was greeted by a roar of jubilation from the planet's grateful citizens. They had witnessed the courage and skill of their native sun, and their faith in humanity had been renewed. Jax, humbled by the outpouring of support, knew that he had taken a crucial step towards securing his species' rightful place in the stars. Yet, even as the initial euphoria of victory began to subside, the young pilot knew that the true challenges lay ahead. The Imperium would not rest until they had eliminated him and crushed the growing human resistance. Jax steeled himself for the battles to come, his resolve hardening as he prepared to lead his comrades into the next phase of the conflict. With the fate of his homeworld and the future of humanity hanging in the balance, Jax knew that failure was not an option. He would do whatever it took to defend his people and prove their worth to the galactic elite, even if it meant facing the full might of the Imperium's formidable forces. Reeling from their unexpected losses at the hands of Jax and the Crimson Wing rebels, the Imperium's leaders convened an emergency summit, their faces etched with a mixture of fury and trepidation. The human pilot had proven himself to be a far more formidable adversary than they had ever anticipated, and they knew that drastic measures would be required to regain their grip on the galactic elite. As the Imperium's most influential members debated their next course of action, a palpable tension filled the air. Some advocated for a swift and decisive strike, a full-scale assault on New Horizon that would crush the human resistance and eliminate Jax once and for all. Others, however, counseled a more measured approach, arguing that such an overt display of force would only serve to further inflame the already volatile situation. At the center of the debate was the Imperium's most powerful member, a ruthless Vrixian warlord known as Dark Lord Xerax. His reptilian features twisted into a malevolent sneer as he surveyed the gathered council, his taloned fingers drumming against the arm of his ornate chair. "Enough of this incessant squabbling," Xerax growled, his voice a low, rumbling snarl. "The human must be eliminated, and he must be eliminated now, before he can rally more of his kind to his cause. I will not allow this upstart to threaten the very foundation of the galactic elite." The other council members fell silent, their gazes locked on the Vrixian warlord as he continued. "I have already dispatched our most skilled warriors to deal with this. Jax. They will not rest until he and his pathetic followers have been eradicated." A murmur of agreement rippled through the council, and Xerax leaned back in his chair, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. The Imperium had spoken, and their decision was final. Jax would be crushed, and the human resistance would be snuffed out before it could truly take root. As the summit drew to a close, the Imperium's agents fanned out across the galactic elite, their movements cloaked in secrecy and their purpose clear: to eliminate the human pilot and his comrades before they could pose a threat to the Imperium's stranglehold on power. Jax, unaware of the Imperium's deadly machinations, continued to lead his fellow Crimson Wing rebels in a series of daring strikes against the Imperium's forces. Their victories, while hard-won, only served to further cement the young human's reputation as a formidable strategist and a symbol of humanity's resilience. As word of Jax's exploits spread through the galactic elite, the Imperium's agents grew increasingly frantic in their pursuit. They deployed their most skilled operatives, seasoned warriors trained in the art of assassination and subterfuge, to track down the human pilot and eliminate him before he could rally more of his kind to his cause. The Crimson Wings base, once a bastion of security, became a hive of tension and suspicion as the Imperium's agents closed in. Jax and his comrades found themselves constantly on alert, their senses heightened as they scanned their surroundings for any signs of danger. Yet even as the noose began to tighten around them, Jax refused to be cowed. He knew that the fate of his homeworld and the future of humanity hung in the balance, and he was determined to do whatever it took to protect his people and secure their rightful place among the stars. As the Imperium's forces closed in, Jax and his fellow rebels began to formulate a plan. A daring gambit that would pit them against the full might of the Imperium's elite warriors. They knew that the odds were stacked against them, that the Imperium would spare no expense in their efforts to eliminate the human pilot and his comrades. But Jax was undaunted, his resolve hardening with every passing day. He had come too far, sacrificed too much, to give up now. With a steely determination, he rallied his fellow pilots, their eyes burning with a shared sense of purpose and a determination to stand against the Imperium's tyranny. As the Imperium's agents closed in, Jax and his comrades prepared for the final, decisive battle. They knew that the fate of their homeworld, and perhaps the entire galactic elite, hung in the balance, and with unwavering courage, they'd readied themselves to face their most formidable opponents yet, the Imperium's elite warriors, tasked with eliminating the human pilot and his allies at all costs. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future of humanity and the very fabric of the galactic elite. Jax, his mind focused and his spirit unbroken, steeled himself for the battle ahead, ready to face whatever challenges lay in his path. The final confrontation between Jax and the Imperium's elite warriors unfolded with a ferocity that shook the very foundations of the galactic elite. The young human pilot, his comrades by his side, faced off against the Imperium's most skilled and experienced fighters, each side determined to emerge victorious at all costs. As the two forces clashed in the expanse of space above New Horizon, the battlefield erupted in a dazzling display of laser fire and missile strikes. Jax, his senses heightened and his reflexes honed to perfection, guided his fellow rebels with a precision that left their adversaries reeling. The Imperium's fighters, piloted by seasoned warriors from across the galactic elite's member species, deployed a relentless barrage of attacks, their advanced craft darting and weaving in a deadly dance. But Jax and his comrades refused to be cowed, their unwavering determination and unparalleled teamwork proving to be a formidable match for the Imperium's vaunted might. In the midst of the chaotic battle, Jax found himself in a desperate dogfight with the Imperium's most skilled pilot, a ruthless Vrixian warlord known as Dark Lord Xerax. The two fighters engaged in a high-speed chase, trading blasts of energy and executing daring maneuvers that pushed the limits of their craft. Jax, his mind racing, searched for an opening, a weakness in his opponent's defenses that he could exploit. Xerax, his reptilian features twisted in a snarl of concentration, unleashed a barrage of firepower, his ship's superior firepower and shielding giving him a distinct advantage. But the young human pilot refused to be intimidated, his determination only hardening with each passing moment. He maneuvered his craft with a precision that left Xerax reeling, his shots finding their mark with unerring accuracy. The Vrixian warlord, his grip on victory slipping, grew increasingly desperate, his attacks becoming more erratic and reckless. In a final, desperate gambit, Xerax unleashed a devastating salvo of missiles, their warheads locked onto Jax's fighter. The human pilot, his senses heightened to a razor's edge, anticipated the attack, and with a series of daring evasive maneuvers, he managed to evade the deadly barrage. As the missiles streaked past him, Jax seized the initiative, his fighter darting in close to Xerax's craft. With a series of precision strikes, he systematically disabled the Vrixian's weapon systems and engines, rendering the once formidable fighter little more than a helpless, drifting hulk. Xerax, his face contorted in a mask of fury and disbelief, watched as his ship was rendered powerless, his dreams of victory crumbling around him. Jax, his expression grim but resolute, hailed the Vrixian warlord, his voice carrying a weight of finality. "It's over, Xerax. The Imperium's reign of terror ends here. Your kind will no longer subjugate or dismiss humanity. We have earned our place among the galactic elite, and we will fight to defend it, no matter the cost." The Vrixian warlord, his pride shattered, could only glare back at the young human pilot, his impotent rage a testament to the magnitude of his defeat. Jax, his eyes narrowed, ordered his comrades to secure Zyrax and his crippled fighter, their victory serving as a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. As the battle raged on around them, Jax and his fellow Crimson Wing rebels continued to press their advantage, their coordinated strikes and innovative tactics proving too much for the Imperium's demoralized forces to overcome. The once formidable alliance of alien warriors found themselves in disarray, their superior numbers and firepower proving to be no match for the human pilots' unwavering resolve. In the aftermath of the conflict, the Imperium's forces lay in ruins, their ships adrift, and their commanders either captured or dead. Jax and his comrades, their fighters still gleaming despite the furious engagement, surveyed the scene with a mixture of triumph and solemn reflection. They had faced the full might of the galactic elite's most powerful cable and emerged victorious, a testament to the human spirit and the potential of their species to stand alongside the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. As the news of their triumph spread through the galactic elite, the once dismissive attitudes towards humanity began to crumble, replaced by a newfound respect and admiration for the young pilot and his comrades. From that day forward, humanity took its rightful place among the stars, its representatives welcomed with open arms by the galactic elite's member species. Jax, hailed as a hero, became a symbol of his people's resilience and determination, his exploits inspiring generations of young humans to strive for greatness and to never underestimate the power of the human spirit. The road ahead would not be an easy one, but Jax and his fellow pilots knew that they had taken the first steps towards securing a brighter future for their species. With a renewed sense of purpose and an unwavering commitment to their cause, they prepared to face the challenges that lay ahead, confident in the knowledge that humanity had earned its rightful place among the stars.